Guys, we're so back. You can't even imagine how back we are. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mr. TARDIS, and we've been waiting for this news. I think it's been inevitable news for a couple of years now. Christopher Eccleston joined the Big Finish expanded universe of audio adventures around 2020, and during that time we've been given about 3 seasons worth of audio adventures. We've got 12 box sets, 3 stories apiece, plus a crossover with David Warner as the Unbound Doctor from an alternative universe, where the Ninth Doctor, who Christopher Eccleston played brilliantly back in 2005 for a single 13-episode run, has been travelling on his own, meeting fan-favourite characters like River Song, Bernie Summerfield, the Ice Warriors, Vashta Narada, the Sea Devils, Sontarans, the Brigadier, and of course, the Cybermen. However, after 3 seasons of audio adventures, Big Finish decided to drop this bombshell on Saturday night. The trip of a lifetime continues. Christopher Eccleston and Billie Piper are reuniting for a new series of audio adventures with Big Finish. Find out more here, and we're going to dive in just a moment. But before we dive in, my name is Mr. TARDIS. We do Doctor Who videos here every single week. If you want to keep up to date on the latest in the world of Doctor Who, and also the inevitable reviews of these Big Finish box sets when they release later on this year, then please consider subscribing to the Mr. TARDIS channel. Make sure your notifications are on, and if you're already subscribed, make sure that you leave a like and let me know in the comment section below how excited you are for the Ninth Doctor adventures to continue with Billie Piper. Also, I have YouTube memberships, I've got Patreon as well, and hopefully, fingers crossed, at the time of this video going live, patrons and members will be able to get early access to my in-depth review of Doctor Who Dot and Bubble. It might take some time for it to make its way public on YouTube due to content ID issues, but patrons and members will get instant early access to it as well, and they'll also get their name in the credits and other perks as well. All of those links in the description. Let's dive into this news. So just for some background here, Christopher Eccleston started recording Big Finish audio dramas in 2020, and they got released in 2021 onwards, and he was very upfront as to why. He wanted the money. It was lockdown, TV shows and movies weren't really filming at the moment, and in order to keep money coming in, he did audio dramas, and he did these for Big Finish. And you know what? While I do think you started getting diminishing returns towards the end of the range, particularly in box sets like Travel in Hope, in Time Lord Immemorial, and Buried Threats, you did get some unambiguous home runs, and Christopher Eccleston, even though he was just doing it for the money, he was definitely invested emotionally in the material. He kept on doing it, he kept on returning, he had a great time, and he was just a joy to listen to throughout all of these box sets. And this box set, Star-Crossed, which came out in May 2024, for all we knew at the time, this would be the last Ninth Doctor Big Finish box set that would be released. This is a Ninth Doctor and River Song crossover, and for those of you who haven't listened to this who might be cringing right now, it's actually a terrific AAA box set. However, like I said, you were really getting diminishing returns, particularly in this 3rd season, where I think that you'd had so many adventures with the Ninth Doctor on his own, you needed to start pairing him up with companions. However, Christopher Eccleston on the convention circuit in interviews was very explicit that he would only do companion box sets with a single person.
So my question is, if you could travel with one other Doctor's companion, who would it be?
No.
No?
No, fundamentalist Rose. I don't like all that. Rose is my Rose.
Yes, Rose is your Rose!
All this multi-doctor, I don't like it.
Well, thank you.
It becomes about the Doctor and the Rose rather than the Doctor and the assistant or the 6 Doctors. I'm not interested. I'm interested in humanity and the adventure and the aliens.
Yes.
But his heart belongs to Rose. End of. Nobody comes close.
So he's a Rose fundamentalist. This was a brilliant panel and Q&A at AwesomeCon in summer 2023. And the idea of the Ninth Doctor doing more adventures with Rose Tyler, played by Billie Piper, was not outside of the realm of possibility here. Billie Piper has returned several times for Big Finish audio productions. She first teamed up with David Tennant as the 10th Doctor, and then she got her own spin-off series of 3 box sets called The Dimension Canon, which takes place on Pete's world as she's travelling to all of these doomed worlds trying to search for the Doctor, which leads into the events of Turn Left. Dimension Canon 1, for the record, is a surprisingly somber and dramatic affair. I actually really recommend this particular box set. And Dimension Canon 3, Trapped, is essentially The Last of Us, but with Rose Tyler as Joel, and a non-binary alternative version of Rose called Danny is playing the Ellie role. So for me, it was not a matter of if, but when. And we have this brilliant photo released by Big Finish of Christopher Eccleston and Billie Piper laughing with each other in the Big Finish recording booth. That's such a terrific photo, with this Amazing article. The Ninth Doctor and Rose return. Christopher Eccleston and Billie Piper star in a brand new series of full cast audio dramas beginning in August 2025 from Big Finish Productions. The Doctor and Rose want you to come with them, back to the Powell estate where the Doctor's past returns to haunt him, and out into the universe where enemies old and new are waiting. In 2005, Christopher Eccleston and Billie Piper as the Ninth Doctor and Rose Tyler took a whole new generation of Doctor Who fans on the trip of a lifetime into time and space. 20 years later, the trip continues as they're set to star in a brand new series of 12-hour-long full cast audio adventures due to be released from August 2025. Now, before we dive further into this, let's look at this incredible trailer that they dropped on the Big Finish YouTube channel, which deliberately pays homage to the incredible 2005 Trip of a Lifetime trailer. Sorry to interrupt almost immediately, but I love Howard Carter's Ninth Doctor theme that's playing at the beginning of this. It's so triumphant, it's so energetic. This is now the theme, having listened to these box sets, that I associate most with the Ninth Doctor, not the Murray Gold theme. I'm sorry, but anyway.
Do you want to come with us?
Because it's not going to be safe. And it's not going to be pretty.
It's a jungle out there. Sometimes quite literally. You'll see ghosts of the past, the ruin of your future, and there'll be big trouble at Little Kevin's.
But if you come along, you'll never know a journey like it. Go on. I dare you.
Love it, love it, love it. Great trailer there by Chris Thompson. I've made it no secret that the 2005 series with Russell T Davies, with Billie Piper, with Christopher Eccleston, that's the series that's not only got me into Doctor Who, but is the reason I'm working in the TV and film industry, generally speaking. That and Doctor Who Confidential is what set me on that path that I've been on for the past 20 years. So of course, I am incredibly nostalgic. I am incredibly excited for what Big Finish are going to do with this character pairing, and I think it has been a long time coming. Ideally, I would have liked this to have maybe happened a season earlier, but still, we finally got it. It's about time. Christopher Eccleston said, "I'm so happy to be back recording more adventures for the Ninth Doctor with Billie. I don't think my Doctor exists without Rose. He's a one-man, one-companion kind of alien. We've explored him on his own at Big Finish as a loner, but there's a resilience and a bravery and a deep empathy to Billie as Rose. That's why I do this. They complete each other." Billie Piper added, "I can't think of a better time for Rose to reunite with her first Doctor than now. 20 years after she first ran into the TARDIS and towards adventure, here we are again, me and Chris, ready to have fun facing the universe and the monsters together." Let's quickly dive into the format that these audio releases are going to take, because this is a break from tradition when it comes to the Ninth Doctor adventures. So for the first 3 seasons of Ninth Doctor adventures, where it's just been Christopher Eccleston travelling on his own, they have these box sets which have 3 standalone stories, with the occasional 2-parter, like the finale of Old Friends, which is a 2-part Cyberman and Brigadier story. You get 3 hours of audio dramas and then an hour of behind-the-scenes conversations and interviews, and each of these stories have their own standalone piece of artwork which you get with them as well. However, what's going to happen with these upcoming Ninth Doctor and Rose adventures is that these are going to be 12-hour-long standalone releases. That's not to say that there won't be 2-parters, that's not to say that there won't be bundles or maybe an ongoing theme or an ongoing story arc. Obviously, it's way too early to know that for certain, but that's what's going to happen. These will not be box sets, these will be standalone releases. I do think that's a bit of a double-edged sword here, because obviously this makes it more accessible on a cost level, and it makes it maybe easier for me as a reviewer to say, I recommend X, Y, and Z, I don't recommend A, B, and C, for example. Like, for example, the Ninth Doctor Adventures Into the Stars, I unambiguously recommend Salvation 9, which is the Ninth Doctor and Sontaran story, but stories like Last of the Zetatine, I'm not really a big fan of that one. I think that was a bit of a miss for the Ninth Doctor range, but in order to listen to Salvation 9, you have to get the entire box set. But on the other hand, you have these 3-story box sets like Star-Crossed, which essentially shows the beginning, the middle, and an ending of a relationship, and that thematic through line is what makes those 3 stories so dramatically impactful. And these 12 stories are going to be released every 2 months between now and summer 2027. And if that sounds familiar to you, that's exactly what they're doing for the 13th Doctor Adventures, starring Jodie Whittaker and Mandip Gill, Gill as the 13th Doctor and Yasmin Khan respectively. These are going to be bi-monthly releases up until mid-2027. And what's interesting though, and why revived series fans are going to be eating so well for the next 2 years by the sounds of it, these are alternating release dates. The first 13th Doctor adventure will come out in July 2025, and then 1 month later in August you'll have the first 9th Doctor adventure with Christopher Eccleston and Billie Piper, and then after that the second 13th Doctor story will come out in September, then the second 9th Doctor and Rose will come out in October. Every month for the next 2 years you're going to have brand new revived series Doctor adventures, very similar to what Big Finish did when they first started with their monthly range with classic Doctors from the 5th to the 7th, and then adding in the 8th later on. I will say though, I can't wait to see all of the Big Finish cover art for all of these adventures. It's gonna look so cool. Big Finish do such great cover art for their box sets and their stories. I really can't wait to see what their graphic designers come up with for these 12 stories. But what about the creative team? We don't know the writers, we don't know the stories, we don't have story titles and such. However, we do know that the producer and the script editor of this range is Matt Fitton. Now, Matt Fitton has essentially, from what I can tell, has been the script editor for all of the 9th Doctor range, going back all the way to Ravagers back in 2021. Matt Fitton is an incredibly safe pair of hands, but like I said, you had been getting diminishing returns by Series 3, so I wouldn't have been against bringing in a new script editor, you know, a brand new person like, for example, Alfie Shaw, who's been doing the 11th Doctor Chronicles with the 11th Doctor and Valerie, just a terrific top-tier range from Big Finish. So producer Matt Fitton said, 20 years after the 9th Doctor and Rose burst onto our screens, Christopher Eccleston and Billie Piper are back with that brilliant dynamic, the Doctor showing Rose the universe and Rose showing him the best of humanity. Across 12 episodes, slotting neatly into that 2005 series, we have more Jackie Tyler, which I'm assuming means that we've got Camille Kaduri, who has been a regular at Big Finish as well. Camille Kaduri as Jackie Tyler, it's like 2005 all over again. More Powell Estate, plus friends and enemies, old and new, through time and space. Our writers have done an amazing job recapturing the spirit of that very special season, and Chris and Billie have embraced these scripts with delight and gusto. They're having a blast back on that trip of a lifetime, and they sound fantastic.
He said it!
So new threats and new aliens, that goes without saying, but it makes me wonder, what are they going to be doing in terms of returning villains? Because they've already done the Cybermen, they've already done the Sea Devils, they've already done the Sontarans, they've done the Ice Warriors, they've also done the Vashta Nerada, so the revived series villains, they're also on the table here. They even did a sequel to The Green Death where Louise Jameson played Boss. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the Daleks will not be appearing, because Big Finish, you know, they love to throw the Daleks into some stories and into some box sets, but they've shown incredible restraint for these first 3 seasons of the 9th Doctor adventures, knowing that the 9th Doctor, maybe those Dalek encounters should just be limited to, you know, either non-canon big events or those TV stories, Dalek and the Parting of the Ways. So maybe the Cybermen come back, but then again, how do you explain the canon of Rose not knowing who the Cybermen are when it comes to Series 2 with the 10th Doctor? I don't know, questions for later. Big Finish listeners can now pre-order Doctor Who The 9th Doctor Adventures starting at just $9.99 per story, download to own, or $11.99 download to own plus collector's edition CDs exclusively here. The collector's edition CDs are strictly limited to 1,500 copies each and will not be repressed. You can also do multi-buy bundles if you are so inclined. But yeah, I'm hugely excited for this. The 9th Doctor range for Big Finish has been a really strong range. If you folks haven't gotten to Big Finish yet, because it can be quite an expensive part of the Doctor Who universe, and maybe you want a bit of a warm-up to these much more accessible releases that come out this summer, then first things first, Ravagers, which was the first 9th Doctor box set to be released in Big Finish, directed and written by Nicholas Briggs. This release is actually free on the Into the TARDIS podcast that released a few months ago. You can listen to this on iTunes, you can listen to this on Spotify or your other podcast app of choice. Ravagers is a free release that you can listen to online. But if you're after like the top tier box sets, and I'm going to recommend the top tier box sets, not the top tier stories, Respond to All Calls is such an easy and safe recommendation. 3 really strong, 3 really solid 9th Doctor adventures, with Planet of the End being a really interesting like existential sci-fi story, and Girl Deconstructed being a really emotionally effective like kitchen sink drama. Old Friends is really good. This is the season finale, basically, where the 9th Doctor goes up against the Mondasian Cybermen and teams up with John Coleshaw as the Brigadier. You've also got Back to Earth, and while I'm not a big fan of the False Dimitri, I do really like Station to Station, and Auld Lang Syne is like, if you were really wanting the 9th Doctor to get a formal, proper, great holiday special, like Christmas and New Year, then Auld Lang Syne is that story. it's probably one of the best, if not the best, Ninth Doctor story on audio. But there's also Shades of Fear, where the Ninth Doctor teams up against a colour-coordinated series of antagonists. The Blooming Menace is a really fun farcical comedy. The Colour of Terror is like midnight in a charity shop, and Red Darkness is a really effective Vashta Narada story, where he also teams up with Adam Martin, as in YouTuber Adam Martin, as Callan Lennox, a partially sighted teenager with a talking dog. And then we have the most recent one, Star-Crossed, which depicts the beginning, the middle, and the ending of the Ninth Doctor's relationship with River Song. Archipelago by Tim Foley is probably one of the best hours of Big Finish audio of 2024. It's a incredible drama. Alex Kingston and Eccleston as actors are just working so well with each other. It's a really great box set. So those are my recommendations if you wanted a full-on box set before diving into this range. But like I said, Ravagers is free online if you know where to find it. So yeah, The Trip of a Lifetime is getting a second season. I cannot wait. Be sure to subscribe to this channel for more updates as and when we get them. We do live streams when there's news to talk about. There's going to be more reviews coming in, not just for Big Finish audios, but also for the expanded media more generally, and also, of course, the TV show. Like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Patreon, YouTube members, all of that good stuff really does help to support the channel. Share this video around as well. And folks, I'll see you next time.